Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 123 of the Dear Herbalist podcast titled Pattern Before Protocol, the secret to getting better herbal results. If you are new here, you are most certainly welcome. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued support. So tonight we're going to talk about patterns. And I think it's important to talk about patterns because it's what needs to happen in order for you to be able to create a more targeted, effective protocol for your clients. And so today we're going to dive deep into something that I feel like every herbalist needs to know, but I'm going to give you a practical way to figure out what's really going on within your clients' health stories. So you don't need to memorize 100,000 symptoms or diagnoses. You just need a method to spot the pattern underneath the symptoms so you can address the root and not just the surface. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's first talk about why recognizing patterns within your client matters. So let's say somebody walks into your clinic and let's say they have brain fog, low energy, loose stools, and they have mood swings all at once. Where do you start? Do you try to chase every symptom, or do you try 5 or 6 different herbs and hope that one of them work? What do you do? Well, I'm going to tell you, no, you don't do that. What you're supposed to do and what we need to do is to slow down, look at the whole picture, and then ask yourself some very important questions. Ask yourself, what is the body trying to tell us? And that is the beauty of pattern recognition. It gives you a roadmap to follow and helps you to choose herbs that support the entire person and not just do a patch job with the problem. So I'm going to give you a 5-step pattern method that you can use in order to help you be able to recognize the patterns that are going on within your client's health. And therefore you can use this information as a tool to help you construct better herbal formulation. So we're going to start at step number 1, 5-step pattern method. So we're going to start with step number 1, and that is to gather the full picture. So you want to start by collecting more than just symptoms. Ask questions about their energy levels throughout the day, their digestion, their elimination, how they're sleeping. You want to ask about emotional health and stress. You want to ask about hormonal patterns, or if they're within the age range, or if they have them, menstrual cycles, you want to ask about that. And if there are any changes. Oh, excuse me, I gotta get some water. I don't know what the world is going in my throat. And I'm probably going to keep this in the podcast because it's just real. Sometimes you get to talking, your throat gets dry, gets scratchy. And when I'm editing my podcast, I'm like, I need to take that out. But you know what? Sometimes I'm just going to leave it in because that's just real. Nothing is perfect. Especially when you're trying to talk and then you have like little tickles in your throat. It's kind of annoying. But anyway, back on task. Thank you for your patience. So you're going to also ask about environmental factors. So how do they feel in different weather? Are they more sad when the sun is not out? Do their joints ache when it rains? You know, just a variety of different things. What kind of environmental factors are they looking at? That is very important. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say your client comes in and they say they feel bloated after they eat. Their stools are loose. They're experiencing brain fog. They wake up tired, and they also feel heavy or unmotivated. When you're looking at this particular type of case, you have to understand that what you're looking at is not 5 separate issues, but what you're looking at is a pattern. So everything, when you have clients come to you and they have the variety of different issues, look at it that way. Okay, what I'm looking at, I hear what they're saying, but I'm looking at a pattern now. Step 2, okay, group the clues by the theme. So what you want to start doing is looking for common threads. Ask yourself, is this person running low on energy? Is there any type of inflammation? Are they feeling stuck, either physically or emotionally? Is the body holding on to too much water or too much waste? Is there too much tension in the body? These are some of the things that you want to look for. So for example, let's say you have a client that comes in and they have heavy limbs and they have brain fog. You want to ask yourself, does this point to slow metabolism or their body's ability to be able to detox and it's kind of sluggish? Let's say if they're tired after they eat, is it likely due to a weak digestion or maybe poor energy production? This is where you move from the what to the why. So you kind of have to be a detective at this point when you hear these issues. And I know sometimes there's pressure, like I said before, I call them drive-bys. What can I do for this? What can I do for that? It's okay to say, I have a few more questions before I can answer you, thoroughly. Because sometimes you don't want to give quick answers because you're trying to look at the patterns that the person might be dealing with. And if you can do this often enough, you can get a hang of it and you can do it quickly. So somebody may say, I have diabetes. Well, what else are you addressing? What else are you dealing with? And you could start looking at the patterns from there. And the more you do it, the more you will become efficient, because you will get a lot of people asking you questions, especially if you're bold enough to admit you're an herbalist, especially a clinical herbalist. So you want to know this information. Okay. We want to look at the why, not necessarily the what. So step number 3, you want to name the main pattern. Think big picture. Okay. Don't get caught up in every single little details. So let me talk about a few common patterns that you'll see. All right. You may see a pattern between low energy and poor function, and they're always tired, slow digestion, mentally foggy, right? Let's say someone is tense and stuck. Okay. They may exhibit emotional swings, bloating, or even cramping. Another pattern that you might see, if somebody's dry and depleted, they may have trouble sleeping, their skin may be dry, or they may have poor memory. If somebody is, let's say, heavy and boggy, then they may be dealing with water retention, they may be a little sluggish, or they may have sticky stools. And then another one, another pattern, common pattern, if someone is hot and inflamed, they tend to have red skin, thirst, irritability, and constipation. So your goal isn't, as an herbalist, to name a disease. Your goal is to spot the dominant pattern in the body's story. And everybody's body has a story, no matter whether it's in health or it's in imbalance. Everybody's body has a story. So you want to spot, the overall goal is to spot the dominant pattern within that person's body story. Now, step number 4, confirm with extra clues. Okay, you want to make sure you want to confirm it. So if you're comfortable, use physical observations. What does their tongue look like? Is it pale? Is it red? Is it swollen? Is it coated? All right. What about their skin? Is it dry or is it puffy? If you know how to do the pulse, okay, check the pulse. Is it weak or is it bounding, buoyant? Does their energy shift throughout the day? That's something else that you want to look at. Or you can look at your client's lab test if you have access to them, or you've actually had them order some for you. Is there low iron on there? Do they have blood sugar crashes or sluggish thyroid? If these things occur, this might kind of back up what you're already suspecting that they're dealing with. So you're just adding more evidence to your pot by looking at these things. You're not replacing your intuition, okay? Because I think a lot of times when you think about the idea of combining science and herbal medicine, people seem to think that you're just getting rid of your intuition or your discernment, or you're getting rid of the old methods to be able to determine what's going on with somebody. And that's not the case at all. Really, what you're doing is gathering and collecting evidence. You're still using your methods, but you're also blending it with the new, because, we have so much information at our fingertips right now, even more so than what our ancestors did, that, there really is no room for error, because there's so many different ways and methods now to be able to determine patterns and what's going on with people. So you just kind of have to keep an open mind. But I think some people are just kind of stuck in the older ways, and they're like, you know what, I'm not trying to learn all this new stuff. I don't think we should merge anything with science at all. And when I say science, I'm not talking about necessarily medical science. I'm talking about the physical sciences of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, these sciences. All right, that's the science. The foundational sciences is what I'm talking about. These things that help us better understand the plants and what they can do, because it's been tested in very expensive labs. All right, and step 5. The final step is to match the pattern to your herbal plan. So now, once you've addressed the pattern, you know exactly what it is, you've identified it. Now you're ready to address the root. So you want to ask yourself, do they need more energy and support? And please, when people hear energy, I know they think it's like the cosmos, some kind of strange whatever, but the body uses energy to do everything for us. It needs that energy to be able to function, okay? To clap, to blink, to eat, to digest, to wave your arms in the air, to slap somebody. It takes energy to be able to do that. And usually if there's imbalances in the body and someone has the flu or they're ill, their energy reserves are low. Okay, so that is one of the things that you have to focus on when people talk about energy. Do you even have enough energy? Is the body just exhausted? Does it have enough energy to fight off whatever it is that may have ailed you or thrown you off balance? So that's what we mean when we talk about energy. When you're looking at your client, what are their energy levels and do they need more support? The other thing you want to look at and ask yourself, is something stuck or not moving? Is there a blockage somewhere? Okay. The other thing is, are they overworked? Are they inflamed? Are they depleted? Do they need to clear out any type of excess, or do they need to rebuild what was missing? So for example, let's go back to our bloated, tired, foggy client. Okay. They're likely going to need herbs that support their digestive system, that will boost their energy, that will clear out any excess dampness or heaviness. And so some of the herbs you may want to think about to address these are ginger, orange peel, licorice root, okay? Because these things can help stimulate their digestive system a little gently. It's not an aggressive way to stimulate your digestive system. Trust me, you don't want those problems sitting at work or at church or wherever you're going. Okay, we don't want a bunch of people running to the bathroom because we have an overzealous herbalist that just wants to give them something to, clean out their chute, so to speak, right? But the overall goal is not just to treat the bloating. You're actually supporting the whole system. Let's look at a case study, and we're going to call this person Angela. All right, let's try to bring all of this information that I've given to you today, or tonight, I should say, with a real world example. So we're going to look at Angela. She's 34. She works at a desk, often skips breakfast, and lives on smoothies and coffee. She comes to you and she's complaining that she's feeling bloated after the meals. She usually has brain fog in the afternoon. Her stools are typically pretty loose. She has a strong craving for sweets. She wakes up exhausted, feeling cold and sluggish. Now, you could just throw a digestion tea at her at this point and just move on, right? Or you could sit back and ask yourself, what is the story? What is the story here? Now, the story is that Anna's body is cold, tired, and can't keep up. Her digestion isn't strong enough to pull energy from the food she's eating, and there's too much damp or heaviness and buildup in her body. So she needs a good, solid herbal plan, which is going to include warming digestive herbs. So that's your ginger and your cinnamon. Remember, it's all about balance. If she's too cold and it's damp, then you need to balance that out with the heat. So she's going to need some warming herbs, ginger and cinnamon. All right. Now, for her energy, she's going to need a gentle energy tonic. Now, you can use urethro, and that's ELEUTHERO. She's also going to need blood sugar support. So you can address this with licorice root. And then with her diet, okay, because of the fact that her digestion is a little off, okay, and she has a lot of dampness in the body, then we're gonna have to tweak her diet. She's gonna have to have warming meals, less raw foods, right, because they're cold and cooling to the system, and then slowing down at mealtime. So not just hurrying up and scooping and shoveling a whole bunch of food in your mouth. That's the reason why I really like chopsticks. I think you should use chopsticks for everything, so to speak, when you're eating. Because I like the fact that you can only put so much on a chopstick, and it causes you to just eat that much, chew, swallow, and then you get a little bit more, and you get a little bit more. I feel like in America, we just got spoons, we got tablespoons, we got little spoons, we got big old spoons, and we're just shoveling food in our mouth. And I think we're not giving ourselves enough time for the food to properly digest, especially maybe an hour or two later when we're shoveling more food in our mouth. So because she has those issues, warm meals, fewer raw foods, and slowing down, chewing slowly, taking your time, not eating on the run, being very intentional about how she's eating. And with this plan, okay, it's very simple, it's very targeted, and it's root focused. So I hope you were able to gain something out of that. And the next time that you sit down with the clients, don't ask yourself, what is the diagnosis? Instead, ask, where is the imbalance? Is something stuck, tired, inflamed, or just not working well? This approach is going to make your herbal practice more intuitive, more effective, and more aligned with the body's natural rhythms. So if you have enjoyed what you have heard, please like, share, subscribe, share it with a fellow plant nerd, leave a review. I always appreciate it. And please subscribe and stay tuned for more grounded clinical tools that you can use right away in your herbal business or in your herbal bus or in your herbal practice, however you would like to label it. Follow me on all of my social media sites at The Demystified Herbalist. Head on over to thedemystifiedherbalist.square.site if you are interested in any type of herbal tea products, literature, books, resources, tools to help you along your herbal journey. If you want practice on how you can create your own protocols and things like that with herbal medicine, go over to the site as well at thedemystifiedherbalist.square.site. And until next time, family, I'm out.